crafting is it's so nice that we can speak the same language even though we're not. I really love that because it's like creativity and we're joined together in creativity.
Yeah, and the
right?
inspirational.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Crafting a Business podcast. I am back home and I've just come back from a 2.5-week trip to China. And the conversation that you're about to hear was a podcast interview recorded at the HTVRONT and LOKLIK factory. Where do I even start? Oh my God, this trip, seriously, mind blown. But in particular, this podcast. Let me tell you a story, okay? So I started this crafting thing 3 a bit years ago. It was me figuring out this crafting thing and figuring out all things vinyl, heat transfer vinyl. I didn't know what I was doing, right? All I knew was that I wanted to make something. And then I started to have lots of questions, right? Lots of questions. The natural thing you do is Google stuff, you go on Facebook, you find Facebook groups, etc., etc., etc. Now I'm summarizing, but long story short, who would have thunk it that I would go on a trip to China, I would meet with the head honchos of a major crafting company, be led into their factory to see their entire process, just because I had a voice, right? Crazy. But what I will say was this trip, in particular, the HTVRONT and the LOKLIK factory tour, totally mind-blowing. I was the first person in the entire world to be let into their factory, which what? I met with their factory manager, I met with their engineers, I've met with their quality assurance team, I met with the experts in the different element of crafting. But the craziest thing is that they saw me as an expert as well, which was so weird. Because they kind of explained it to me. They said, like, for example, Mr. Liang, which you'll hear from in this podcast, but he's an expert on the cutting machine, right? He's the engineer behind making the machine faster, making it more accurate, making it a really small, thin cut, like all of those things that I would have no idea on what. But I know, okay, it needs this heat settings, puff vinyl needs this, or it's too thin, or this machine does this, whereas this machine doesn't do that. Like, you know what I mean? I'm an expert on the user journey, right? Which is so weird to me that the little person that started just crafting has ended up here and that I have a voice to such big people in the crafting world. Insanity. So I'm about to introduce Alice, who's the content manager at HTVRONT, who is such a lovely soul. How this conversation happened was Zara, shout out Zara, who's the affiliate manager at HTVRONT, reached out to me a couple months ago because she saw that I had been using some of their discounts and their codes, and everybody in the community was kind of rallying behind me and using the same codes. So then she could kind of track, she could kind of see, oh, okay, so whoever this Debbie girl is, it's equating into traffic into HTVRONT, right? So again, I feel like I'm little fish, but for someone like Zara, it's kind of like, oh my gosh, she is somebody, which is crazy. So I went back and forth with Zara and I explained to her, hey, I've got a podcast, I've got a blog, I've got a crafting community of nearly 10,000 on Facebook, 10,000 on Instagram, a whole lot of us across all of the channels. There's almost about 20,000 of us if you add it all together. And I've got this community of crafters that love making. Can we do something together, right? And at the time, I was like, oh, I might go to China, I might not. I really, really wanted to go, but I didn't have the funds. And I couldn't see how I could be away from the kids and manage work and all this stuff, right? And then I was like, oh my God, let's just shoot my shot, right? So I said to her, hey, is there an opportunity to turn this into a bit of a sponsored agreement? Like, can I, write blog posts for you? Can I shoot video for you in exchange for something, right? And then I said, hey, I might be in China. Is your factory near? Would I be able to visit? Then little did I know, Zara went and contacted Alice. And then all of a sudden we were talking about recording the podcast in the factory. And then all of a sudden I had to sign a document to make sure that I didn't give away secrets. Of course, I wouldn't anyway. But I was just allowed into their world, which is insanity to me. So this following chat is a chat between myself, Alice, and Mr. Liang, who's the engineer. There is a bit of a language barrier in there. Alice speaks amazing English, and she found herself being a bit of a translator while I kind of navigated this space. But I asked so many questions, and I am so honored that I was allowed into their world. Crazy. So here is the start of many, many things, and I'm really proud to say that our crafting community, that I'm friends with the guys at HTVRONT, which is crazy, and hopefully the start of many more collabs that I can bring to you guys. So enjoy this chat. Hi, Alice.
Hi, Debbie.
Hi. I'm so grateful to be here.
Yeah, we're so happy to have you here.
Oh my gosh, seriously, it's been quite a whirlwind tour, hey? So just to give everybody a little bit of background, I'm here in China in the LOKLIK factory, and these guys have been so lovely in showing me around, but also letting me into what I think is Disneyland right now.
Our pleasure.
Yeah. Because there's so many of all the different machines and all the different materials, and I get to play with them all, which is amazing. So with me here is Alice. She's the content manager for HTVRONT, and she has been so lovely in organizing her time with me and sitting down with us to record a podcast. So welcome, Alice.
Guys, hello. Hi, Debbie. Thank you for giving us an opportunity to show your audience what we have.
Yeah, so amazing. And you speak amazing English. Just
thank you.
Amazing English.
Thank you.
I was just saying to my followers the other day, it's so hard for me because I look Asian and I look Chinese, but I can't speak the language. So let's start at the beginning. Why don't you tell me a little bit about what you do for HTV and LOKLIK, and how did you enter the crafting world? Tell me about that.
Well, my team is mainly responsible for the content creation, mainly focus on the influencers and the key opinion customers, what they made and what they made from, and when they shoot videos about what they're making, which are so amazingly good, and we're gonna contact those and to try to promote them. That's the job I mainly do. The crafting is actually one of the reasons get me into this company, because while I'm watching the customers do the crafting work, this is so amazing, and I always lost the time track when I see when you guys do the job, which is so amazing. And that's why I want to join this company and want to just try to help people to create more of these fantastic jobs.
That's really interesting. So you didn't start off crafting. You weren't a crafter before you joined this job.
I did do some Lego, you know the wood stuff, but I don't see that as something expertise I'm with. But yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's really interesting. A lot of people join my crafting community because they're completely new to crafting. They've never done crafting before.
We do have colleagues. They are super good with the crafting.
Totally.
Yeah, they can make the hat, they can make the t-shirt. They're super good with that before they join the company as well.
Okay, and how often do you get to craft? Like, as part of this job, do you do a lot of crafting, or do you have a team of people that helps you with that? Or tell me a little bit about that.
Actually, we do the crafting during our work time every day.
Oh my God.
Actually, it's like play at the same time, work at the same time.
I'm so jealous.
Is that a dream job for you?
Yes.
Actually, and also we got our colleagues such as also Mr. Liao and other colleagues. We have to test all the material, sometimes a very new material that's which hasn't been shown even in the market, and we have them and we have to give it a test to try, which is super happy to do it. And after work, usually we do have some, me and also my team members, we usually have some crafting as well when it comes to, I made jewelry by myself, and some of my colleagues, they made their dollhouse.
Wow.
Yeah,
really?
Like the wood pieces, collected wood pieces together, all sorts of crafting.
Okay, that's amazing. It would be a dream job of mine to be able to craft all day. So I'm so jealous of all of you guys. And it's so funny. I had a part to play. I had a little bit of time to play with the machines and the cutting machines, and it's like we're speaking the same language, even though we're not speaking the same language.
Exactly.
You know,
exactly.
Like I was struggling with weeding. I was struggling, and these guys told me it's too complicated, like it's too intricate, right? And I said, no, it's fine. I'll weed it. It's fine. But they knew. They knew, right? So it's really interesting that crafting is so nice that we can speak the same language even though we're not You know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And that, I really love that because it's like creativity and we're joint together in creativity.
Yeah, and the
right?
inspirational, yeah, very relaxation.
Yeah, yeah. And I was so honored that you guys toured me around the factory and I got to see some of the behind the scenes testing and the lab. And, you know, I was asking these guys, like, how often do you have to test this machine and how do you make this machine? And I think you said, I don't know if can we share this, you know, to make one heat press, it takes how many days, you know, like how long does it take to make one piece of machinery? You know, I'd love to kind of get into that so that our customers kind of understand what goes into it. Yeah.
Usually, I don't know how to count the math, but in the factory for the assembling lines, for one assembling line, if you have to make the, you know, our product, the Mini 3, the Mini 2, the Mini heat press. Yeah,
yes.
usually it makes, for one assembly line, we make 1,800 pieces one day. You can do the math. You can do the math.
Yeah.
But we have 8 assembling lines for one factory room, and we have, I think we have 3 factory rooms in total. So you can do the math. If you put the manufacturing guys together, we can make like thousands a day. And for the auto heat press, the bigger ones, the more complicated one, for the assembling lines, it's usually like 500 pieces a day. So you can count how many hours to make one.
That's amazing. That's amazing. That's like, again, I didn't do the maths, but that is a lot. That's a lot of heat presses.
You guys can do the math.
yeah. But I was really amazed. I was amazed with the level of intricacy that I'm seeing. Even just walking around the lab, like there's this one section that's just like the special machine, you know. Obviously I can't talk about everything that you guys have shown me and I'm so honored that I got to see it, right? But just the love and the care and the amount of testing that goes into these machines, it's crazy, right? Like I think we were in one of the rooms and they showed me this machine where it was testing the durability of the machine, as in heat-based durability. So for example, he was telling me that the heat presses go all the way around the world, right? So, and I actually asked, where is the most unique place that you've sent a heat press machine to? And the manager of the factory said he sent one to Peru, and he sent another one to
the coldest place.
The coldest place, Where was
Russia.
that? In Russia, right? So that means that they need to cater for all kind of weather scenarios.
Exactly.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about that process, like what happens in the machine when you're testing it? You know, hot, cold. You know, how do you know what to factor in? Tell me a little bit more about that process.
Well, usually there are several tasks when it comes to go for the product, and it's also before the manufacturing process. And they usually test the demo machines, which is like the pilot machines before it goes to manufacturing. And when it comes to test, they have like temperature and humidity. They would mimic the extreme environment, for example, the hottest temperature and also the coldest temperature and the most humidity area, like this, things like that. And also they would also mimic the shock to protect the machine when it's in delivery, to make sure they are stable, to make sure even they encounters so many shocks and moves around, it's still gonna be the same, like quality still be the same in the box.
That's really interesting. I was amazed to see the level of detail that goes into that, you know. For us in an Australian market, like different parts of Australia have different heat temperatures, right?
Yes.
So, for example, one of the crafters in my community, Kim, shout out Kim, she lives near Alice Springs, which is like one of the hottest, driest, maybe I've got that wrong, but a really hot climate, right?
Yes.
So she was telling me that when she does resin, sometimes it doesn't quite work, right? But you guys have to think about that even more.
Yes.
Like because it's on a worldwide scale, you know? So tell me more about like all the different markets that you guys cater for and all the different crafters across the world. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Well, we got mainly 8 countries, but we do sell all over the world. But we have like the target markets, including United States, Australia, of course, and Canada, and also Singapore, and also domestic market in China, and also United Kingdom as well. So there are some different in terms for the market as well. For example, we got United States people, they probably got more like the bigger machines. And also for Singapore, for those Asian markets, they probably tend to be for like the cups and also the subtle materials, things like that.
Yeah. Okay. That leads me into my next question, actually. Like all the different kinds of materials that you have, it's crazy. Like, I mean, you guys know I'm a very big fan of HTVRONT, so I'm totally fangirling here. I'm a very big fan of all the different materials that you have. But the type of testing that goes into the materials is next level. Like when I was asking an engineer here, there's a bit of a language barrier because I don't speak Chinese, but I was asking him about the difference between the glitter iron-on, and there's two different types of glitter iron-on, right? One's, the ones, when the glitter comes off, right? So the glitter's on the outside, but then there's another type of iron-on where the glitter's on the inside.
Yeah.
So how do you even come up with these different types of ideas? Like, how do you know what works, and, how do you know to put the glitter on the inside? Like, what is the research and development and all that process?
Well, I will try to answer your question as good as I know, but probably I'm gonna go for Mr. Liao as well. I think first because China is like the biggest supplier for all the vinyl materials in the whole world. So it's not easy to find the best material to work with. And also we got a whole team research on the material. They do their research work every day, and they always, and when it comes to chemical, they're so their major is chemical and the material as well. They know the material so well. And also I want to bring out the background story as well, because they spend so much money and the time to buy the new stuff. Like you already see the room here, we got more than 100 types of material. Some types you might not even consider to use it for crafting, but they think, oh, let's have a try, oh, let's have a test, which is, I think it's so fantastic. Yeah.
I think that goes to the care, right? It goes back to trying all these different things so that you can then report back to your customers so that they can fuel the creativity, right?
Yes. Yeah. And also, I think it also comes to the experience, because as a mature crafter, when you spend enough time with the material, with the machine, you might be more familiar with the machine and the material. And also for the subtle, sometimes how much temperature should we turn on, how much press, sometimes it all comes to experience. And they spend all the work hour here, and 2 years, 3 years, 6 years already. So I think the more practice, also,
and the testing it. Like you guys know, right? Like say for example, when you're using a particular piece of vinyl, you stick to that piece of vinyl or that brand because you're used to it, right?
Exactly.
Like there's so many times when I've cut material and it shriveled, or something happened where it wasn't quite right, or it peeled, which is the worst thing ever, right? So it's really amazing to me that you guys put so much testing into it so that we as crafters can learn.
Yeah, exactly. Before we came into this business, especially for the materials, there is no a brand, because the dealers just want to make quick money out of it. But we find out the crafters do need to have the quite good quality materials, and so we got so many customer reviews about how they spent money on other materials and then suffered the failure crafting work. So they turned into us, they changed into our brand, and then they just love all the materials we have, the quality, and also we do offer the best quality with the best price, so which I think is super good for
I think
the
so
crafters.
too, yeah. And you know what, and you guys know I use a whole lot of different brands and a whole lot of different types of materials, right? But especially if you've taken my class at one of the craft shows, HTVRONT, seriously, it's been the one that I can most rely on,
Thank you.
Yeah, and to be honest, I've stocked vinyls before, and I'm not going to mention any other brands. I don't want to throw anybody under the bus, but I've stopped stocking vinyls, right? Because I wasn't happy with the quality of it. And I always seem to come back to HTVRONT. And I'm not saying that in any way. I'm really just fangirling about how good the material is. But why don't you tell me a little bit about the science of it? And, feel free to ask your colleague who's Mr. Liang, I think. Yeah, about the kind of background and how much science and testing goes into it. Yeah, into different things like the iron-on.
So we're gonna go first with the machines.
Okay.
Mr. Liao just introduced for the big item heat press to get the temperature even at every place on the surface is quite important, right? So in order to make the machine to have the stability for temperature and for the pressure, they use 19 points on the plate.
Wow.
And to test the point has the same temperature when the heat press goes on. to make sure the stability of the heat.
And that's really important because I know, for example, when I heat press using the mini press, if I held one area longer than the other one, then you get one place dribble.
Exactly.
So it's really interesting. I didn't know that there's 19 points on a press.
Just in order to test the stability of the heat, to get every surface, every angle of the surface has the same temperature.
Wow. Okay. So that's just one of the points, like when you're testing, when you're building the machine.
Yes.
Right.
One of the examples to show.
One of the examples. Yeah. And why is it 19? Like how? Yeah. Why?
Oh, sorry for the bad listening. It's 9 or 12 points.
Okay. 9 or 12 points.
The more, the better to test the stability.
Test the stability.
Because this is the square shape, so you can get 9 little mini squares or 12 mini squares all over the place.
Okay.
Got
and that's
it.
what
That
you
makes
test
sense.
it. Okay.
Yeah, that
okay,
makes
okay,
sense.
Okay. Cool. Okay. So you talked before about getting feedback from customers and, so how does that feed into your process? So if a customer, gives you some sort of feedback, how does that go back to someone like Mr. Liang to build into the machine for next time?
I have to say that this is not advertising, but we really, really listen to the customers. I don't think there are too many brands like us to do that. We are so key to the customer reviews, and also sometimes a customer criticized the product. I know it's hard to get, because sometimes when you get criticism too much, you're gonna feel so sorry and so hate yourself or hate the one who gave you the criticism. But we take that really seriously. And we got a whole team which is responsible for the research, and also we got a whole team for the customer reviews.
Okay.
And we collect all the customer reviews actually on daily basis. And we collect them and write the whole paperwork, like
a document.
Document on weekly basis, and we report back to our research team, and our research team going to review all of it and then go back to the factory. It's like the whole process.
It's like a whole process. And it was interesting what you told me. It was a passing comment where we were in the factory on the tour. You were telling me that sometimes there are meetings between research and development and who was it, the production team, and they're literally fighting.
Sometimes it happens.
But I also, I'm actually quite proud of that, because it means that you guys care so much about what the customer is saying that, the one team wants one thing and one team wants another thing, and then you have almost like a constant battle.
As for research guys, they really want to get something to the customers, the best stuff for the customers. But for the manufacturing guys, they want to make sure everything can be produced properly. Like quality control guys want to make sure everything is all right. Sometimes some elements cannot be produced with the standard level, like you have to push. And also the quality control guys want to make sure 100% of our product is past the quality control principles. Right, that's why they sometimes get into fight which it does for good reason.
A good reason. And maybe that's a little bit of, as I mentioned to you, my background, I'm not Chinese, right? So I'm to be honest, I'm Australian. Let's be real, right? I can't speak the language. And I was saying to these guys before, people get a bit confused with me because they speak Chinese to me and I'm like, what?
Sorry.
But it really goes to show that cultural difference, right? I've worked in Australian companies before, and we wouldn't fight about it, right? We'd have a heated argument, but one team would just, what's the word? Will just give up. Not give up. Give up is the wrong word.
They would just say,
they would just accept it.
Never mind.
Yeah. And maybe that's a cultural thing, right? Like a Chinese, Asian culture, always wanting the best and always wanting to make sure that, one team is looking after the other. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean, but actually it's not so typical Chinese culture, because for Chinese culture, we tend to resume our real opinions to just avoid the fight. But by fighting, I mean they actually verbally.
The conflict.
The battle. We do have this battle culture. I think my point is right, and you think your point is right. Now let's prove to each other. Let's get into the fight.
Argument.
Into the argument, and just try to see what's gonna be the best for our customers.
That's awesome. That to be able to see that. Not to say that I saw a fight. No, didn't see a fight.
It's not like the ugly fight. No, guys. It's not like the ugly fight.
But these kind of discussions happening, all means that that knowledge is going back into the product, right?
Yes.
After all of the customer inquiries and all of the customer
what's
complaints.
the best for the customers? What's the best to make the product all right?
Yeah. And I think that's really a testament to you guys, and that's why. I'm such a fangirl. I was saying to these
Even
guys,
when we just, for example, if you and me are into the battle, into the meeting, and
yeah.
after that, we're all good. I
Yeah,
can
we're
have
all
a
good.
cup of tea with you. This
Yeah.
is like, I really love that culture as well.
Yeah. I was saying when we were doing the factory tour, I was like, I have that machine, I have that machine, I have everything. Because I saw the tumble press, I saw the mini, and then I saw a couple of new machines, which I'm not going to talk about yet. But they're coming, and
which you're gonna see very soon.
It's so bad I can't keep a secret, but I'm gonna try. But like, it's amazing to see kind of this background, and I'm really honored to be here. But tell me more about what goes into the engineering. Like, we were talking about materials before, and talking about 150 different types of materials that go into the program, and how do you determine what's good? Like, how do you know what material a crafter wants? Like, how do you know what does that feedback look like, so that the engineer can start working on what's next in the machine before like everyone is kind of feeding that information? Like, how do you decide that materials and yeah.
Well, this factory mainly manufactures the machines, but for the materials, we already have 6 years of experience for those materials. And also for some materials already on this market, you can see the statistics about the setups for the machines. So you can already have some documents, and also already there, the statistics. And for some new materials, they need to test. For example, Mr. Liao and his team, they spent, in order to we got a new auto heat press, gonna be launched. Let's give it a little peek. And in order to test the new machine, they spent like 45 days, no rest. And just to test how many materials it can heat press. And also we got a new cutter, which I'm not gonna say anything about it, but they also tested the new machine with all the materials based on the already know statistics. And also for the new materials, they need to test and to see what is the best statistics for the machine.
And tell me more about that testing process. I think you said 45 days of non-stop testing. Man, that's a lot of cutting and a lot of weeding and a lot.
I've already asked Mr. Liao, but I want him to tell you the direct story. I'm gonna just show you.
Okay.
They cut all this one. Mr. Liao cut this one by himself. They purchased the whole roll. Yeah, in order to make the machine to cut it, so they need to cut them into small pieces.
就我们会买很多这种大卷的回来，然后
So
把它裁成这种小张。
this
Some of
is
them-
faux leather, right?
Yeah,
This is a faux leather,
yeah.
and it looks like a meter width
Very
or
big
something
one.
like that. And how many meters is this? Maybe 200 meters or something.
These ones can cut into 4A paper, like
Yeah,
400
A4.
pieces.
Yep.
A4 paper.
400 pieces.
400
Wow.
pieces. And they handmade cut them.
Hand cut
Piece by
them.
piece, just in order to test the machine. This is the third roll they got.
Third roll,
Yeah.
third. Wow, that's crazy. Just to test it. So how would you test this? Like, would you put like heat transfer vinyl or to cut this? To cut this, yeah, okay, that's really interesting. For those of you guys, there's this massive roll that's probably about a meter long and probably about 300 meters wide of just a roll of material, right? So say, for example, when you're going in Spotlight, those rolls that you get off the table? So they bought now 3 rolls of this stuff, and they've hand cut them into A4 sheets, which we feel your pain, man. We just cut, nearly 200 of these packs for an event, and hand cut them just to do the testing, which that's a lot of effort, like it's a lot of time, but it just goes to show the amount of and the level of testing that they go through before something is even launched.
And also, I'm gonna show people this one.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
color
yeah.
already faded. In
Yeah.
order to test how many times you do for this one.
就同一台机器，我们会连续烫2000个杯子。
So for this one, if you want to get this one ready, it's gonna spend like 420 seconds to get the usual one. But in order to test the extreme version, they spend like 这是多少次啊？
这个要烫到1500次以上，它的颜色基本上就消失了。
Okay, so they just heat press 1,500 times, and even sometimes up to 2,000 times in order to test how the color gonna change for the
So
sublimation.
I'll upload a video about this later, but there's a whole shelf here of sublimation mugs. There's probably about 100, maybe 200 mugs.
He got 1,000, more than 1,000 cups.
So, and these are the failed ones, right? So by failed, and they're purposely failed, because what they've done is that they've sublimated it to the point where it's ghosted, right? So you know what the fading looks like when you're trying to sublimate something,
Yes.
but they wanted to see the extreme. So normally you do, I think you said 420
For one circulation, it's 420 seconds.
seconds. Yeah. So that's the normal time that you would run the sublimation
Yeah,
in the auto
but
press.
they spent 2,000 times of
420,
seconds.
yeah, to
You can
get
do-
the faded, just
you
so
can do
they
the
could
math.
test, yeah, just so they could test how it turns out when it does fail,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, that's really interesting, and I resonate with this, all the fails, because I have a whole lot of fails at home as well. But it's interesting that you guys do it on purpose so that you can understand the level of what you're dealing with.
Yes.
Yeah. So tell me more about, how do you decide what you're going to test today? So is it to do with like a product launch that's coming up, or, how do you know today you're going to test sublimation, or how do you know? Yeah.
Mr. Liao, in their team, they have several lines, and each line responsible for one or two products. And so their daily job is to test the products, especially for those extreme cases, like for the heat and for the durability. And for example, the cup, we do have the tumbler machine, right? So usually other brands, they got like, if you do the cups for 1,500 times, it's over. The machine gonna be like broke, right? But in order to make like more better quality tumbler machine, we test the 1,500 times, and it's still gonna like perform as the same. So the job is mainly just to test, wow, what's this machine gonna look like, perform after 1,500 times or even 2,000 times of the sublimation on the cups thing. And also, since we need to make sure like every piece of the product, when it's sold to our customer, it's gonna be the same quality. So sometimes they pick, like random pick, like one machine or two machine just to give it a test. And especially for the new machines, not released ones, they need to pay more attention for the new machine, because we want to make sure every detail is good.
And it's interesting, I go through a lot of crafting machines, and I go through a lot of crafting materials, but I've had such problems with other brands. Like, and again, this is not an ad, right? I'm not trying to advertise it, but I'm actually a really big fangirl of this brand, because I've never had any problems with it. Right, I've never had any problems with the machines breaking or unreliable or uneven heat or ghosting in sublimation. I've never had any issues. So if anything, it's a real testament to Mr. Liang's team, and also the team that are here with such stringent testing processes, right? Because I can see it in the product, and it's really nice for me, because I run a business, and and if a customer needs an order, and my machine breaks, like, they are going to be so disappointed, and they won't shop with me anymore, right? So it's really, really important for me to find a brand that I can rely on. And I'm really happy to be able to understand what that process is.
Yeah, and also we are so happy to have Debbie here, because usually for this business, there are not too many brands are like open enough to open up the factory to just welcome more people coming and pay a visit. Maybe in the future, we're gonna have like the open day, so you can see how the product is made exactly. And why we want you guys to see it is because we want to show you guys that we are reliable. All the product in this factory, we have more than 600 workers here, just in order to give you every piece of our product is good, and also it's gonna help you to build up your crafting world as well, or the crafting business as well.
Yeah, and just by you guys welcoming me, like you know what, I've come from Australia, and I'm a small business owner, and the care that you guys have given me, I feel so grateful that you guys have opened the doors and taken the time to explain this to me so that I can learn, right, and bring it back to my community. So I'm really, really grateful. But just the level of detail and the level of care that goes into this product, I think you guys should be so proud, because it's not common,
Yeah, I know, because thank you for the feedback, because we really, really are key to any feedback we have from the customers. And also, if you are so familiar with the crafting and you made your own business on it, so we really appreciate any review and any feedback. And also, as you know, ladies, for the crafting, one temperature, one tiny, teeny difference is gonna make the whole process and make the whole result different.
Totally.
Right? That is why we need to pay so much attention on the details. And also for some of our machines, on the assembling line, beside the assembling line, there is the testing guy working beside the assembling line just to make sure every detail is right on the point.
So you're talking now about quality assurance, like QA?
Yeah.
So on every line?
Not on every line. For example, for the, am I allowed to say? I don't know, for the cutter. For the cutter, you know the blade, sometimes you need to adjust the blade and to make sure every cut accurate. Sorry guys, because this machine hasn't been released yet, so we can't show you the exact video about that, but let me just picture that. Beside the assembling line, usually at the assembling line, there's no like test on the side. Guys follow this, but the cutter is so special. So every cutter assembling line, beside the cutter, there are several guys sitting there using the computer, tested the cutter on the side, and usually only 14 pieces a day, to have like more than 10 testers beside the assembly line. Let me get the statistic right. Beside the assembly line, because the cutters, you need to pay more attention to the accuracy of the cutters. So there are always tester people sitting beside the assembly line. So usually for one tester person, it takes to finish the whole test. One day you can just only test 16 machines, like for one day.
Wow. Only one day you can only test 6 because it takes so much time to test it properly. And you're talking about like the blade, for example, like pressure settings and all that.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. See, that's really interesting. And then, but I think you said that you produce, I think it was like 3, how many?
For the auto machine, auto 2, there's 500 a day.
500 a day.
For the cutter, it might be like fewer than 500.
Okay. So if you're doing 500, you're producing 500 machines a day, but you can only test 16.
Oh, that's 2 different lines.
Oh, two different lines. Okay. Let me understand.
Sorry to get everything complicated. For the auto, for this auto heat machine, the production is 500 pieces a day, and for those machines, you don't need to put the testing guys test on the site. You just can get them, random pick one of them in the testing room. It's okay to do that. But for the cutter machine, there's another line, manufacturing line, assembling line, and it's different, separate from the auto heat machine manufacturing room. So I think we got like several rooms, several different lines for different machines.
And that just goes to show how complicated it is. and complicated.
Sorry.
No, but it's really interesting for me, because then now I understand like the effort that goes into it, right? And that's ultimately goes back to, you know, the quality that you guys want to give to the customer.
Every effort, I think every effort we make is only just to let you guys to make your crafting work like effortless.
Yeah. And I love that. I love that. I just had a chance to play with the LOKLIK iCraft. And no, it's not released yet. And I'm so honored that I got to play with it. It's so quiet. Seriously, it's so quiet.
Husband friendly.
So he doesn't know that I'm crafting. No, but it's so quiet and it cuts so fine. That is insane. Like they were telling me before that they showed me this tiny decal that they cut. It's less than, I think it's 2 millimeters thick. Was it the line? I can't remember. How small was the line?
For the finest, it's 0.5 millimeter. But Liao said it's not the smallest yet.
Wow.
He can
make it
even
smaller.
smaller. But the material could like affect the heat press process.
Totally. And it reminds me of, we run crafting classes online, right? And one of the classes that I had a couple of months ago, I was running the class and I designed something and I cut it as normal and it was material that I've used before, and then I went to heat press it and it shriveled. Because it was so thin, right? So I think it goes to show that the machinery and the material is so important, right? But if you're telling me that you can cut 0.2 millimeters thin and still have no problems, right? And Mr. Liao says that you can do it even thinner, and you can heat press it. That is crazy. That's amazing. We were just talking about the LOKLIK machine. That's how fine it can go down, which I'm really interested in playing with more, but also working with the materials that go in the machine. We were talking before about the heat transfer vinyl. And it was so funny, there's a video that I'll upload later, but Mr. Liang and me were pulling the shirt because I wanted to see how strong it was.
Fighting for the custody of that t-shirt. Super funny.
To be honest, I was like, no, it can't be stretched like that. But he was like, yeah, he was like confident as. But again, it goes to show how much testing goes into it, and there's a whole lot of science that goes into it, right? That I, as a crafter, I have no idea about all this stuff, right? But Mr. Liang's background he's an engineer, right? Yeah. So his background, he was telling us before that his background is in machinery and all the different parts of machinery and making sure all that works together. So there's so much science that goes into crafting, which is insane to me, right? Like, could you ask him if he could tell us a little bit about his background and how he came into the crafting world as well? Could you ask him? Yeah.
阿鹏，想问你的背景是学啥的？然后是从什么时候开始进入到我们这个做 DIY 的这个行业的？
我在学校的学的是机械类的，就是我学的是数控。
His major is computerized numerical control machine, which is called CNC machine.
I don't know what that means.
Super complicated to understand, right?
Say it again. Computerized
numerical control machine. And the CNC is the right word. When you say it, the people in this field gonna get to you.
Okay, understand.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Basically, he's a really smart guy, okay? There's a whole lot of science and I have no idea. Yeah. I feel a bit ditzy saying that. So that's his background, right? So
yes.
And then how did he find crafting? Like how did he, yeah.
你怎么找到进入这一行的？ As you can see, Mr. Liao is really creative and he likes to challenge himself. So he used to work for those famous like the kitchenware, bread maker, oven, milk shaker, those small and the coffee machine. Oh wow. Yeah, he used to work for those small kitchenwares, and then he found out the crafting machine, like the heat press, takes more challenging, more complicated to work with. So, which brought him here.
Yeah. Okay. Amazing. Amazing. Okay. So it just goes to show that there's so many different elements, right? So for us as a crafter, right, like we just want to make a shirt or we just want to make a glass or a mug, but there's so much science that goes into it, right?
Yeah.
And, please thank him for, for all the effort and his team puts into, doing this type of work.
Yeah. 特别感谢你们的工作，贼棒！特别感谢你们这样做。
Yeah, cool. And what about, tell me more about what's next? Like, what does crafting look like for you and for this team? Like, what is the next level? We've already heard about the new machines that are going to come out and, all the different materials and all that stuff. But what is next for HTVRONT and for LOKLIK and, and what can we expect as crafters? Because it's really exciting to know about it, yeah.
Well, for this year, we still have new machines to launch. And the newest version for our Auto Heat Press 2, the digit version, going to be launched on November the 1st. I think when you guys see the video, it's already launched. And also, that one is like the game changer, like the top level for the heat press. And also after November, on December, we're gonna have the craft. The cutter going to be released as well. And then because we see the digital painting and also the digital creation while you use your iPad to draw a picture and while you like to take photos, we all like those photos and those paintings, right? And we can find a way to make your digital paintings into the artwork, into the crafting work, but I don't think I can speak too much about because it's going to be launched before next Valentine's Day. Yes, if you guys are interested in putting your photo with, for example, me and Debbie, we can take a selfie and we can make that into the artwork. If you're interested in that, let's wait and see. Okay, next Valentine's Day, before that, we're gonna launch a new whole. You never see that machine before.
I'm really excited about that one. I had a sneak peek, guys. I had a sneak peek, and it's gonna be. It's gonna be amazing.
Because as you know, well, since we have the mobile phones, we have so much short videos, we keep rolling them and we keep spend time with them, right? But it feels like the personalized stuff getting like more far away recently. So we want to try to bring the personalized life into like more warmer and warmer touch for that. So make your digital work into personalized artwork, which is, I think it's going to be
amazing.
Yeah,
can't wait. So that's the end of our podcast. Thank you so much, Alice.
Wow. Thank you, Debbie. This is my first time for
you did so well. Can I just say your English is amazing,
thank
and
you.
thank you for making me feel so welcome in your factory. And I'm
welcome.
completely honored. I'm so honored that I get to be here and to speak to you guys. And I'm really proud that I got to spend some time with you. And seriously, just touring the factory and learning more about your world and learning more about the crafting world, like it's great, it's amazing. So thank you.
And we also feel grateful to have you here because honestly, we usually talk with our customers and with our friends during the email, but the email you can't see too much expression from it, right? And you give us so many like honest reviews and great feedbacks and inspirational as well. So I'm super happy and super grateful for that too.
Thanks so much. So where if these guys want to find out more, where do we find you guys?
From our website and also the website is okay.
Yeah,
Website is fine.
I'll make sure to tag their socials and make sure that to put their website on the show notes as well. But thank you so much for your time, and please thank everybody here. You guys can't see, but there's a whole team of people that have welcomed me. Super shy, I know. But even from the moment of when I walked in, I feel like I've been welcomed into the family. So thank you. I really,
welcome
really
to
appreciate
our
it.
family. We're the whole family together.